In this video, we will explore how land-based Indigenous pedagogy can be used to shift paradigms in education. Land-based Indigenous pedagogy aims to shift our educational paradigms away from a Western-centric model towards ones that embrace Indigenous knowledge and culture. It also seeks to center specific community values, specifically respect, reciprocity, reverence, and responsibility. Finally, land-based Indigenous pedagogy is a key requirement in the reconciliation process in Canada. Historically, Canada used the educational system in genocidal programs against Indigenous people, and so the educational system needs to become a tool of reconciliation. Land-based Indigenous pedagogy has 6 key characteristics. It repositions oral communications as equal to writing. It fosters community building within the classroom and creates connections to those outside the educational system. Land-based Indigenous pedagogy fosters cultural competency in students, which creates an emphasis on Indigenous culture and traditions. It uses apprenticeship as a model for learning. And very importantly, it requires active decolonization and anti-oppression approaches to subject matters. Finally, in land-based Indigenous pedagogy, students explore their connection to land and gain an understanding of their dependence on it. To demonstrate land-based Indigenous pedagogy, we will examine a sample lesson on biogeochemical cycles from the Grade 9 Ecology Unit. In this lesson, most of the concepts were explored through discussion and debate, in which the teacher primarily guided through Socratic questioning. The focus of the discussion was the value and location of Earth's mass. In addition, students brainstormed how matter might be moved between spheres of the Earth. Students were then placed into groups to discuss how a process that transformed carbon sources could be illustrated on a diagram. Each group then presented their term and illustration onto a single image so that collaboratively the class constructed a cycle for carbon on the planet. Once the students had consolidated their understanding of matter cycling in ecosystems, they engaged in a real-world problem-solving task. Specifically, they explored the current downward trend in food production together with the reasons for this decline. They were then asked to tackle this problem by shifting our approach to food production. In Canada, our dominant model of food production is based on ecosystem management, in which we try to maximize production within the margins in which an ecosystem can self-repair. This model is failing as the intensity of our extraction practices pushes ecosystems past their tipping points. So students redesigned farming using a synergistic participation model that demands that biodiversity be served by the farm system instead of just human food needs. To support their design process, students looked at and discussed a video on small-scale farms that highlighted Afro-Indigenous farming practices. For homework, they independently watched 2 short videos describing agroforestry and permaculture. When they returned to class, they were asked to redesign a conventional large-scale farm into a newer, regenerative, and sustainable model. Links to my files associated with this task are in the video description below. Feel free to download and use them. This lesson was designed using material from Our Changing Planet and DWA YouTube channels. To all the folks responsible for these channels, thank you for your amazing work. If you are an educator, please consider subscribing to this channel. My hope is that my videos are useful to you and help me to consolidate and reflect on my practice. And if you are an educator, good luck on your journey. We are all in this together.